I want to get right into the program. So let me jump right into our first guest, Roma Downey, actor, producer, New York Times best-selling author. Of course, you and I probably remember her for the hit TV shows like Touched by an Angel, the miniseries The Bible. She's also served as producer on such films such as The Son of God and Ben-Hur. Her new book is titled Be an Angel, Devotions to Inspire and Encourage Love and Light Along the Way. Please welcome Roma Downey. Hello, Roma. Welcome to FlashPoint. Glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you. All right, so I've got to start. Before we talk about the book, we got to go backwards. I want to talk about your time at Touched by an Angel. Did you have any idea when you first started on that program that it was going to be so impactful to the nation?
I had no idea at all. I do have to tell a story because my co-star and mentor and beloved mother, Della Reese, always knew it was going to be running forever, because when we first were employed there, we had to do medical insurance, which is something you have to do usually for any job. And they signed down how long you're going to be in the show. And we had just initially been employed to do 6 episodes. And that's really what they expected us to fill in. And she said, I'm not putting in 6 episodes. She said, this is going to run for years. And so she knew that it would. We're so thrilled that it did. It was such a privilege to be on the show, to play the role of Monica. I loved her. I loved being the messenger. I am a believer. So to be able to deliver a message of God's love every week to 25 million people was very exciting. And those were 10 of the happiest years of my life working on the show. And I think, the feedback, even still in reruns, the amount of people I hear from that say, that just opened my heart. It helped me reunite with my broken family and helped our son with addiction. It helped, our marriage, which was on the rocks, and on and on and on. And we just learned as actors to, we got out of the way, really. We just let spirit move through us. We would hold hands and we would pray before those important scenes that, that God would just come out through us into the camera and into the hearts of people watching. And I think that it did a lot of good in the world. It was a beautiful show to be part of.
It was absolutely beautiful. And, it's one of the few programs that in reruns, it still works. It really does still work. So I'm sure a lot of people watch it.
You can see over the course of 10 years, so I couldn't leave my hair alone. I had bangs. It was this length. It was dark. It was light. You just get so, it's like it was very 90s, the blunt bangs.
Well, I won't tell you what my hair used to be, but it used to be like out here. But that's another story. All right. So, hey, someone told me that interesting thing about Della Reese, she was actually officiated your wedding.
Yes, Della. Well, Della was a minister too. She had a church here in Los Angeles, and she officiated my wedding. She's the godmother of my daughter, Riley. And at Riley's christening, she was a little baby. She held her up in her arms like a scene from The Lion King. Right. And with all the strength she could muster, and she was a formidable force, Stella, amazing woman, amazing, powerful woman of faith too. She held my baby in her arms and she said, as long as there is strength in my body, I will stand up for this child.
Oh,
and
that's
you just knew she meant it, And so one of the enduring blessings of Touched by an Angel for me was my friendship with Della, which of course outlived the length of the show. And I had the good fortune to be with Della really right up to the end of her life. And your life is in seasons. Like last year was a hard-working year. I was like digging potatoes and plowing the field and all of that. And now I feel like I get to bring the harvest in. I get to share my work with the audience. And my new book is called Be an Angel. And it's really a book that emphasizes goodness and kindness. It's written as a devotional, so you could follow it daily or weekly, however you choose, or you could dip in and out of it, whatever suits you. It's personal anecdotes from my life, how in my spiritual walk, and things that I have learned along the way, in the hopes that perhaps they would be useful to the reader or to the audio listener, because I also recorded the book. And each chapter ends with a be an angel suggestion. You know, I believe that love is a verb. It's you could say I love you, but if your actions don't mirror your words, then your words are empty. And it's the same way you could say I believe in the Lord, I believe in God. But if my actions and my words aren't kind and don't reflect, you know, my belief system, then my words again are empty. So the be an angel suggestion at the end of each chapter really is a call to action. It's saying you've just read this chapter on kindness or forgiveness or courage. Does it apply to you? Does it make you think of something in your own life? Is there someone in your life that you could now be an angel for? And they vary from praying for somebody that, you might be holding a grudge against to buying the person lying behind you a cup of coffee.
Let me ask you this question. The book that's coming, Be an Angel, reflects on the importance of, being kind and love, just like what you're saying, bringing kindness and love into the world. Why do you believe that topic is so critical in this generation?
Well, I found during the pandemic, when I was spending more time at home and was a little bit more isolated from my friends, that I was spending more time on my phone. I was like everybody else, scrolling through the news and doing a little bit on the social media. And I was struck by just what an unkind landscape that has become, particularly for people leaving mean comments on social media, just unnecessary words of unkindness. And I was thinking, why are we doing that? I know that we have a big country and many people believe different things and many people have different politics and so on. But there used to be a time, where we were able to disagree without hating each other, where we could express an opinion and do so respectfully. And so I think I really was prompted by what I just saw as their sort of bullying and mean-spirited. I mean, as a creator of content, I know how hard it is to create and how easy it is to criticize. And, I just think that between the stimulus and response, there is a space, between the time somebody says something to you that might trigger in you something to hit back or to strike back or, whatever. It's like just to take a moment. I always think it's a space for grace, either to say a prayer. I mean, sometimes the kindest thing, my old Irish dad used to say, if you have nothing nice to say nothing. So sometimes the kind thing is just to be quiet. It's like, I understand there is injustice and some things need to be spoken up against, but there's still a way to do that. So I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring with this book and say, can we reconsider what it was just to be nice to each other? My daughter, who's 26 now, her name is Riley, and she always goes, Mom, you're just so corny. It's like, I am a little bit corny. I know I am. Good. But, this is how we were raised, right? We were raised with these values.
That's right.
And I think that we need to remind, particularly, the younger culture, that there's another way of being in the world. You can believe, I have been a believer in Hollywood for a very long time, and it hasn't always been popular. It hasn't always been easy to get stuff made, and that's okay. I'm just trusting, and I just keep. That's right. Just keep moving forward. So I'm bringing you, I'm hoping, I've prayed into my book and I've had friends pray into it that it would be a blessing on anybody that picks it up, or if it would make a nice Easter gift maybe for somebody, or a Mother's Day gift for your mom. But I've just prayed that it would be comfort, that it would be a great reminder to people that we're not alone. This has been an isolating few years for people, particularly people who've lost a partner, or, living by themselves. Just a reminder that we're not alone, that we are all loved by, by our loving Father. And I like to imagine the loving wings of his angels wrapped around all of us.
Let me ask you this question. Throughout the book, Roma, you shared personal stories from your own life. Yes. I mean, you were quite open. Do you ever find it difficult to find the balance between what you keep private and what you share in your books and in your projects?
Yes. Well, I've experienced in my life, quite a bit of loss. My mother died when I was very young, and my father died when I was still in college. And I recently lost my brother, and of course my beloved Della Reese. So I'm no stranger to grief, to bereavement, and to the depths of sorrow that can take your spirit to. But I just felt the nudge, that if I was to share some of those stories or some of those feelings, that there might be of value to somebody out there. To be honest, when I wrote my book, I imagined that I was just having a cup of tea with someone. I imagined it was a woman. Now, that's not to say that the book wouldn't be valuable to all the men out there watching, but I imagined it was a woman who'd experienced loss or disappointment. And I wrote the book really to be an encouragement to her. And so while I hope many people pick up the book and read it, I'm really praying that she gets the book and that she reads it, because I wrote it for, I don't know who she is, but I just really felt that call on my spirit,
Wonderful. All right, Roma, the book, Be an Angel. How can people get this book?
Yeah, they can look, here it is. Lovely cover. Look, isn't that pretty? I don't know if you can see her walking in green. Here I am in my green. And in the water is the reflection of her with a wing. She doesn't have a wing on the earthly side, but it's like that we all have wings. I'm not saying we are angels. I'm saying we could be like angels. The book is available, I guess, anywhere books are sold, and nowadays, if you don't have a bookshop near you, you go on to Amazon or, any of the big lines, I guess, and you can order it. And it can be ordered also, as I mentioned, in the audio version, because I know some people now like to listen to books. They like to listen to them on their way to work or, at home. It's just easier than reading. My eyes are not what they used to be. I think I'm moving into the audiobook more myself, unless I can get, big glasses now for reading. But, hey, listen, time marches on, right? We're just grateful for every day, grateful for health, and grateful, right? But I see you've got glasses on. I have mine here. I couldn't do anything without them. I would be lost. Honestly, I couldn't read a map. I couldn't read, a prescription. I couldn't save my life if I didn't have my glasses nearby. Wow. So I have about 5 million pairs from the drugstore. I have them everywhere. Every little nook and cranny. Does that sound familiar? I bet it sounds familiar to some people.
Yes, it does. It does. All right. Roma, it has been a pleasure to have you on FlashPoint. Thank you for coming by. The book, Be an Angel. Thank you so much, Roma.